All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. Hashtag is Daybreak at Trevor Mbidi at ZinziK. That's how you can reach us on Twitter. 22422 is SMS line. Now let's shift gears and talk about the referendum, because the closest debate there is that maybe some of the counties need to be trimmed. There are people are saying that some of the number of legislators should be reduced. Yes. The head of state should have a 7-year, one non-renewable term. Number of legislators need to come down.
The issue of equality and representation. Exactly.
BBI is gathering views. It hasn't given its report yet. I think the report should be out by end of September. Yeah, but there were also proposals that were given to the BBI that were almost in tandem with the Punguza Mizigo initiative. But the closest we are is the Third Way Alliance Punguza Mizigo initiative. Yep. And that is where we begin. Speaker Lachi, do we really need a referendum to anzia hapo before we even go anywhere?
Well, first of all, I've always said it is either you can have a referendum or you can look at, because we have also many laws, yeah? And I think in our proposals, there are some we told them very well, these are proposals that can just be done in Parliament.
Through amendments.
Through amendments.
Yes.
But then, as women, we are not shying away because we know men are men. So this time around, we told the men we will be part and parcel of this agenda to work, because that is how you lie to us. Then one day they will just wake up and you'll find Kenyans just moving and you are in a process that you are wondering, so where were we? So that is why we came in and we said, fine. If one day you ever go to a referendum, we are proposing then in this referendum, we must have women at the top. Because for the last 50, 55 years, going 60, no woman will ever be at this top, whether we like it. We will be running around, following men and supporting them. Forgetting, me I always say nowadays, I've learned one lesson. Politics is me, my interest. So when I'm behind you, I'm not just coming because you are there. I'm coming because I'm putting something on the table, but I'm also benefiting.
Is it your interest or the people's interest?
The people's interest, but it starts with me. Okay. Let me just be very honest. Every person has an interest. So even if I say, oh, I'm supporting so-and-so, with an interest, it can be the interest of my people, but I am part of that parcel. Okay. Our interest. We are putting on the table. We are negotiating. So for me, for women, and that's why I've said, it does not matter how many formations, because men are wondering, oh, there is Embrace, oh, there is Inwamama, yes, and there will be many.
Embrace is suggesting a 50-50
yes,
sharing.
50-50 sharing.
How do you suggest that?
We suggest within the appointments of the president. Yeah. Let's start from there. We are saying in the political process, we know we have fought 2/3, and we are still going to fight for it. But we are saying, pick Article 177 as it is, and bring it now, and clear this issue of the National Assembly in terms, just the way the county assemblies are done, pick it and bring it. Let's clear that 2/3 agenda at the political process. Then we have the executive appointees that are there, where the president appoints the cabinet, the president appoints the ambassadors, the president appoints the commissioners, all the task forces. Here we are saying
should be 50-50.
Okay. We are not mincing there. And we are saying it's because it is the president who appoints. Now, when we move from there, we are saying that now let us come to the other issues. It's not just that. We are saying if indeed we are talking about corruption, then we are tired of fighting ourselves and you come, you pick people, let's just put in a process also that within the Auditor General's office, strengthen that Auditor General's office and ensure that number one, corruption is unbailable. 2, you have to cool 10 years. You are caught in corruption. Why? Kenyans are many. We are more than going 50 million who can do this job. You stay for 10 years, cool down, you'll come back. Because you find that you do corruption here, then you are moved here. In the same office you go, the same corruption happens again, then you are moved because you have your cronies, you have your people who can defend and support you. We are saying, as women, let us not go that route.
So is the problem the system or the individuals?
The problem is the system. That's why we are saying the system has to change. We are saying in the month of April, the same pomp and color you normally bring in June for your budgets, then give the Auditor General time to present to the country and say, Parliament gave the executive 3 trillion or whatever proposals they gave. We have spent so far this. And in the Ministry of Health, you are given 80 billion. You are not able to, you have not been able, for the next 2 months, you are remaining with this, which you cannot consume in those 2 months. So that money remains in the Ministry of Health, but now when Parliament is doing the budgets, they will know this money was retained here. Because you find that you come in and you bring a budget. Itemize this budget. Show us we have spent this with items at this. And not just at the national level, even at the county. Today, why we are having challenges of even not having salaries for counties is because we have refused completely at the county. Any governor who is a second term definitely knows I always spend 10 or 50 or 100 million on salaries every month. So there's no way you can tell me as a second term governor, to date you don't know how much you should be keeping on health, on this. You can itemize even by head now, your budget.
So Agnes, then let's talk about what the speaker has actually brought in, the issue of you have 50 million Kenyans. Why isn't one person doing the job? Let's talk about Article 100, representation. And most of these referendums, bills that are being proposed for referendum, there's the issue of representation in Kenya. But how do we strike a well-represented government with also the issue keeping in mind we don't want a high wage bill? How do we strike that balance?
I like, I'm a women advocate, yes, and I like the proposal by the Embrace team to have 50-50 share of all positions. I'll point you to Article 21 of the Constitution that focuses on the fundamental rights and freedoms. It states that both men and women should not be discriminated and should have equal access to any opportunities, whether economic, whether social, whether cultural, whether political. So I really support, and I feel like having 50-50 on all assemblies, all appointive offices, whether it is the Senate, we should make sure that both men and women, the numbers are normalized and to reflect our population, because right now the last numbers that we were given, women and men were about 51 to 49. So I don't think it's too much to ask, and I don't think it's a daydream to have and expect that we share the positions equally.
And our growing wage bill?
If we have, if we drop all nomination positions, and if we work towards not having to nominate women into assemblies and into Senate and into making gender, to just normalize the gender in our assemblies, we would be really slicing off part of this wage bill. If we make sure that women are elected, if we cannot do it 50-50, maybe we zone off part of the constituencies. We say that maybe in a place like maybe Starehe that has 5 wards, we can say that maybe 2 can go to women or 3 can go to men, and then you do it on a rotational basis. Just make sure that the women are voted so that we can maybe not have to come and nominate them. And because we passed a constitution that insisted that not more than 2/3 of any gender should be in any floor of the house or any assembly, I don't think it's too much to ask to have this enforced.
Honorable Wahome, do you want us to go for a referendum? Do you see us going for a referendum?
I think the question is whether we need a referendum.
Okay.
For us to be able to answer that question, as a country, we ought to have come up with a bill that will send us to an audit of the Constitution and its performance in terms of implementation, so that we come up with the gaps that will then lead us to the question as to whether we then now, because of these gaps, we need a referendum, then agree on the process. Of course, the process is very simple. It is either through parliamentary process or through popular initiative. So I think it is premature for us to even think that we need a referendum, because if we move the way we are moving, you have seen there are 2 initiatives right now. One initiative is by the Puguza Mzigo, by Ekuru Aukot. He is answering to the question. The Kenyans are feeling that there is a huge weight on them. And to that extent, his initiative is popular. You know, he also collected 1.2 million signatures. It is resonating very well, because I'm talking about the grassroots. 2 days ago, I went through my constituency talking with the people, and just small short conversations, like impromptu, without any prior notice, dropping in here, this and this market, because we are doing street writing. And everybody is asking, are you supporting Punguza Mzigo? And you can see it's like they are laying a trap on me, you know, like they want to see whether I'm on their side. And so I just returned the question to them, what is your position? Because I'm your representative. And all of them will say they want Punguza Mzigo. So we have reached a point where the country has many issues which are connected to the governance structure. And therefore, we needed a very serious documentation of the achievements of this constitution, because there are those achievements, we must say, have come because of the current constitution. But then let us do a serious audit as a country. Then we reach to the point of BBI. You know, the BBI...
Do you trust in the BBI process? Because that has also been
in terms of Ekuru Aukot's bill, for example, you know, he's talking about 50-50 in parliament. He doesn't answer the question of what will happen in the county assemblies. So to that extent, there is a problem there. He's increasing money from for the counties minimum of 35% instead of the minimum threshold of 15%. And I think he's also cutting the house by half. But you see, we have deeper issues regarding even the functions of the government and the relationship between the counties and the national government. I think that the BBI, if you ask me, is a political outfit. It is not representative. It is not anchored in law. It is actually,
really?
It is not anchored in law.
It's not representative then, because it represents the handshake.
What is
it
handshake?
Came after the handshake.
Handshake, it is already two people only. And you have heard the owners of it saying it's two people. Two people are not Kenyans, my dear sister.
But the BBI has 9 key points that that should be addressed.
You know, I'm talking about by the time you even reach the points, whose points are those? Who crafted the points? You know, this constitution is a document belonging to Kenyans. For you to start an initiative and then cut it out that it is you coming with the 9 points and then you want to bring these 9 points to the people, we needed to bring this conversation in parliament, come up with a law, have a debate, take the law to the people, you know, and I had said from the audit, you know, the audit cannot be done without going to the people. So possibly we needed the referendum law. And then from there, come up with a legal framework where you now tell Kenyans, this is what the audit has revealed, and therefore let us now agree on how to start a review of the constitution. And I can tell you, I have no problem in terms of a handshake, but a handshake cannot be a representative of the 53 million Kenyans. Of course, it could represent a big number of Kenyans, but it is not. Even in the selection of the committee, do you know how it was selected? Parliament itself does not know how it was selected, and Parliament is representative of the people. Raila Odinga is not sitting in the National Assembly. Uhuru Kenyatta is elected president. That is true. So I am saying that the BBI, and hear me correctly, if you look at the way it has even been drawing Kenyan taxpayers' money, you will not find a legal framework that set it up so that it can even be able to benefit from taxpayers' money. And you know, to that extent, again, it becomes questionable. You will be able to say, who is it, why, how did it come about? I think I've said enough in my view. And of course, the 50-50 proposals by the Embrace. Of course, Embrace is actually another small baby of BBI, and because they said they are supporting handshake, which is not a bad thing itself, but there is no way they will be able to achieve what they would like for women if we are not achieving it as a country.
And is Embrace another political outfit, or is it genuinely an organization that is concerned with taking women in Kenya forward?
They said they are supporting the handshake, and you know, the minute you say you are supporting the handshake, then you, of course you start getting a brand that is very clear and known. So therefore, it may not be able to take the women forward on board. I'm not a member, for example. Maybe she admires them and she may not be a member. So yeah, Elachi is here. Is my good friend.
Talk about it because you know.
But the question of referendum.
You know, she is my chair. Yeah. She taught me well. So today she wants to listen to her student. One of the things I have said, it is we don't run away from political formations. Don't. My chair is Inua Mama. So when she says I'm a baby of the handshake, She's a baby of the Tanga team then. And so you can see now. Because that's why I say when you do it, let us do it in a way, you will see how it converges, isn't it? But the best thing we should ask ourselves, that the day she will be sitting on a team of Tanga and negotiating issues of women, I will know my chair is on a table negotiating for the women of Kenya. The day I will sit on the table where the president will be and the former prime minister will be, I'll be negotiating things of women. So both of us will be bringing a strength for our women. So let us not shy away, because we cannot also be in one team. We will lose as women.
So you then confirming that embrace is part of the handshake? It
can be part of the handshake because I support the handshake. I support the handshake. I support the handshake with these reasons. Don't forget Bituzelachi is a Luya and the mother from Central Province. Let's start from there. Today my Luyas are more of NASA than anything else. So you can't lie that they have changed. No, they haven't. First of all, lawyers are very, very straight people. People always say, oh, they don't know how to vote. No, they know. It is because they don't follow their leaders. Their leaders follow them. That is one thing they should know from today. That is why for all the years, they have voted for the right honorable. Not for what their leaders say. The leaders are forced to follow. So they are a different character. They don't follow leaders. Leaders follow them. That's how their vote is. Okay. That is one. But Bituzelachi believes in the handshake that I would want to see lawyers now coming on the table, other tribes coming on the table. This notion of putting my mother into a corner and saying Kikuyus and Kalenjins are the only ones who run the country should stop. And that is why I supported it. And I will support the president until he gets that unity. Because whoever wants to be president of 2022, you're not going to run this country again with two tribes. Never. Never. You will be in hell like Hong Kong.
You see, that's where we are going wrong. Are we running the country as tribes?
Let me finish.
As tribes.
Let me finish. Yeah, we run these countries as tribes, to be very honest. Let's not run away again from that. That's what I'm saying. You want to heal Kenya, be honest to Kenya. That we have decided our country to be so tribal that is why we don't believe if Trevor becomes president, we want to know, Trevor, where are you from? Who was your mother? Was he part of... I went through that politics in Dagoretti North. Oh, is she really a Luya? Or is she a Kikuyu? I went through it. I lost because of that. So I want us to come out of this tribal politics. And let us just look. If my chair is a leader, then let me choose her not because of where she's coming from, but where she's a Kenyan who can run this country. Right. I think that's what we are saying as we move as 2022. And that is why I believed in what the president brought. Now, when we say the president who had nearly 8 million votes and his competitor who had 6 million votes, let me tell you, they still discuss to those groups. You'll be lying to us here to say, if today the former prime minister says, we are tired now, he will live with his 6 million people and you will see Kenya again going into a split, a good split. So we are saying, let's not, if we want to bring Kenya to a transition of 2022, where people can now believe in who we are, and where young people can engage in this conversation, then we must remove this tag Agnes, of I come from this place, right. Which we are going now on census in August. You see how people are going to talk after the census, depending on how their numbers are. This is Kenya. We have to rethink. Yes.
Will us going a referendum be a restore factory setting back to Kenya, for Kenya?
Zinzi, I don't know why Kenyans are worried about a referendum. Since we had our constitution in 1963, we've only done about 12 amendments. We have constitutions, more superior constitutions like the constitution of what America has. It has been amended more than 27 times and they've submitted about 33 proposals to the amendments. But sitting with Honorable Elachi and Honorable Wahome, it's clear why we cannot go through the parliamentary initiative. Whether or not Kenyans want a referendum is not the question, is how. And listening to them doing a back and forth about political factions and what this political side wants and what this other side proposes, it means that Kenyans will be left with the same mess. So we know the issues that Kenyans are talking about right now. They are concerned about the wage bill. They are concerned about overrepresentation. They're concerned about corruption. And I like what Madam Elachia said about making amendments to maybe giving more powers to the Auditor General in Chapter 12. Maybe we should also consider amending Article 75 and maybe ensuring that we have the punishments properly put down in writing. We should also maybe expand what Chapter 6, because Chapter 6 is very vague, and I think maybe in Kenyans we have redefined integrity over and over. We don't know what integrity is about. I don't know. Kenyans are also talking about expanding the executive. They feel like it's not properly composed, and you see the issue of two tribes have come up again. We need a solution as to make Kenyans feel like they're part of the system, and maybe expanding this executive and maybe having the Prime Minister, the Deputy, the President would really help the situation. Amending the presidential term, I don't think would really make any change, because we are a political system and change is never effected in the first 5 years. Before a president is elected, he settles in and he starts effecting change. We need maybe a president who can come for more than one term.
All right, only 1 minute.
You can't give me 1 minute when Beatrice has, and I see time is run out.
Yes.
But let me say very quickly that if you look at the way the BBI is going about its business, there is somebody working on the document that they will come up with.
So it's predetermined.
So it is predetermined. In fact, the Honorable Raila Odinga, and with great respect, was very upset when when they saw that Punguza Mzigo had dealt with the first handle of verifying their signatures. And all that team of political heavyweights started bashing the Punguza Mzigo. Why? Because Beatrice talked about political interests. The political interests of Punguza Mzigo are not the political interests of the people, the proponents of the BBI. The BBI wants to expand the governance structure, bring in a prime minister, bring in a president, and then, of course, several deputies. I think 2 deputies on one side and 2 deputies on the other side. When you look below there, then what else are they adding? They are talking about adding a regional government from the county to another regional government. We are already having problems with the 47. We are saying the weight is big. We are saying we don't have money. How does that then resolve the Kenyan problem of wastage, of big burden, of their money being given to salaries? So I think, and that's where we are actually feeling that the 2 communities or 3 communities should never be the question. When you lose an election, we must reach a point where you lose an election, you have memorandums and agreements with Kenyans that if you lose, and the system of election having been established, if you lose, you sign a memorandum that you lose, you will agree that you have lost. But of course, then we must put in properly systems that will give confidence to the voter that their vote as cast actually was properly accounted for. Okay. So are we changing the universal suffrage? Are we changing how we vote so that now we are saying it is this community and these communities that will now form the government? One vote, one person.
Okay.
Or one man, one woman, one vote.
All right.
The Mount Kenya region will not be happy in a situation where you are talking about then, in that case, a prime minister system, because even the gerrymandering that was, accompanied the boundaries question was so huge, so that we would never be beneficiaries of any political or power if in that case we are going to use the boundaries.
But you see, as we are supporting the presidential system,
leave it there.
we are supporting the presidential system, because if you go parliamentary system again, we lose a lot.
All right.
So the presidential system, but at the same time, what my Daktari needs to tell Kenyans is how are you doing the boundaries of the constituency? And let us be honest. Which constituency is this that you'll go to Kenya and say, we are closing this one and remaining this one?
Right.
He needs to give us that on the table. The day he does that, we are good with him. Because as long as women will be 50-50. But he must tell us, which constituency are you killing?
Just cutting down on.
And which one is remaining?
Let's see what you're saying online before we take a break, because we are running out of time here. Let's see, 224222. Baba Lucky 14, when one observes the happenings in our country, one can't help feeling Kenya has two economies, one in which majority of us live, where daily life is a struggle, and an underworld economy with glittering life, where manifestation of wealth is beyond our imagination.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Still sticking to Twitter, let's take a look at more of your feedback that is coming through. Governor_254 is what you call yourself. You say, we cannot be calling for constitutional reforms without giving citizens the reason for it. Politicians should involve Kenyans and make them understand why there is need for a referendum.
All right, let's see what you're saying on 22422 as the SMS line. Kindly tell us your name and where you're texting from. This one doesn't leave a name. You say, anyone found with corruption should cool down. We're tired of seeing them transferred to other departments, especially in counties.
Okay, still sticking on our SMS line. You say, but you don't leave a name, don't you think 50-50 makes women lazy of campaigning? It makes women like Ekuru Aukot feel unappreciated. They fought the men for their seats.
Anonymous is always like that.
Lachi says anonymous is
Oh,
always
yeah,
like
he's
that.
right. I expected him to say something
The Honorable
like
Patricia Lachi, Speaker of the County Assembly, Asante Sana, Agnes Ibara, aspiring politician, and Alice Waome, Member of Parliament for Kandara. Asante for making time this morning. We're taking a quick break here on Daybreak. We'll be back with much more in just a bit.